Success Podcast. You hear it heard first.
I cannot lose. I'm a winner. Got money on me now, make them talk to me different. Was blind before with nines like they all got no vision.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hear Success Podcast. I'm your host, Rikeam, and of course, I'm joined by Dr. John R.Adolph.
Man, it is good to be back with you this week, Rikeam. Thank you so much for having me to join you, man. I enjoyed myself the last time, and I'm honored to be back this time.
And we actually got a lot of good feedback on what type of dog are you. Can you go ahead and just bring that back up, bring that topic up, and hit
well,
that a little bit?
you told this fabulous story, man, about, there were these different dogs, and you talked about how, you had to determine what kind of dog you were by what you intook, what you would put in you, how you would literally use your intake to really describe what your future would look like. Yes, and so, man, I enjoyed that so much because I believe Ndugu Tufariati was right. You are what you eat. So, if you're not careful with your diet, it will determine your future. It'll come back and hunt you in the long run.
But what's been going on new? I know, but I don't know if everybody else knows, but your daughter is in college now. How's that going for you?
Okay, so real talk, they grow up fast, Rikeam. It seems like yesterday it was Dora the Explorer, and today she is on the hill, right, at Prairie View. So it happens fast. I'm very proud of her efforts. In fact, she just FaceTiming while we're getting the set ready, so I had a chance to look at her. But it happens quickly, and when I tell you, man, if you have children, time is of the essence, man. It's the most important element is how much time you can spend. I realize that right now because when I tell you she's 18 and collegiate, it's a trip. And so I'm hoping the best for her, as well as others who are from Antioch who are now college bound. I'm praying for all of them, but especially my baby.
And it's a blessing to be able to be in school at a time like this. And speaking of that, how do you feel about the whole schooling situation right now because of COVID and the kids having to learn virtually and things like that?
I believe that our administrators are doing the best that they can.
Yes, sir.
None of us have ever seen a pandemic like this.
Not me.
I checked out an article, Rikeam, about Wuhan, China, and they are back to normal. So the place where this horrid, heinous virus came from, man, they haven't had a coronavirus case in the last 60 days.
And that's a good sign for us as well.
I pray that the same God who let the sun rise and set on them, lets that same favor rest upon us very soon. But right now, that is not our case. Our numbers are still in triple digits for the week, so we have to be careful. I commend the school district in their effort to make certain that every kid goes back to school. The spring was cut short. So now you're talking about kids who are in Texas. And dude, we were already ranked 43rd in the nation as it relates to education. So, okay, we're already at the bottom. Wow. And then our school district, just coming off of being commandeered by the state, is on the rebound. Wow. So that means we're still at the bottom of the poll. So you talk about 43rd in the nation and then at the bottom of that. So we're trying to make a rebound. So I commend our superintendents, our administration, Port Arthur, Beaumont, our surrounding Golden Triplex. I have heard parents who've had to struggle, man.
Man, it is. And
I've heard that.
I've heard a lot myself, and not only about the education part. A lot of students going to school is the highlight of their day. Yeah. Just to be able to go interact with other kids and have adults talk to them. So I feel for those students who don't get that outlook, and I'm glad that we have places like Antioch and other places giving back to the kids and able to and I noticed Antioch is giving out backpacks and things like that and school supplies and feeding the kids and families, and so that's pretty good that we have places like that in order to benefit from in times like this.
For the last 14 years we've given away at least 1,000 backpacks. Wow. I just believe that to whom much is given, much is required, and so this year is not any exception. We want to empower and exhort and encourage our students to do well. One of those ways with a backpack loaded with supplies. So this Saturday, I believe it is, we'll be doing that, man, so we can bless people around our community. And membership is not necessary. Just make sure that the best for our children are. So that's the biggest part for us is, making sure we get our children out to come get a free backpack.
And in closing the COVID conversation, I just want everybody to stay safe out there, stay updated on everything that's going on. Wear your mask. Please wear your mask. helped you and those around you, and just continue to stay safe at times like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and get into today's topic. Today I want to talk about building your dream team, because I see that you surround yourself with good people and you're good at building a team. So I want to discuss how you go by picking people that you associate with, and also building a solid foundation so that it can catapult you into what you want to do.
Let me begin by saying this. Everybody who walks into your life is there for a reason or a season. Sometimes for both. And I believe that if you surround yourself with the right people, man, the sky is the limit and success is the outcome. Period. End of story. I don't care what discipline that's in. I don't care who it is. When you surround yourself with people who are positive, who can help, who are competent, and for me in my work, good Christians, man, you can do a whole lot of great things. I think in my latter days as a pastor, I'm quicker to fire and slower to hire. When I was younger, I was quick to hire and slow to fire. Right now, I think I hire much slower. It takes me a while before I want anybody new, because you don't know who you're really adding to the team. That's why I'm glad you're here, man, because you bring such a blessed attitude to what you're doing. Man, this whole podcast, I'm just loving this because God put that in you. So, I favor that. I'm happy about that. One of the things, man, I recently watched, though, that really blessed me was a thing on Netflix regarding Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan.
Oh, the documentary?
Hey, man.
Man, I love it.
Hold up. If you want to watch something that helps a person in a very practical sense build a dream team, watch that.
And I wasn't around during that time. Well, I was very young. I was born in 93. And just watching that documentary allowed me to know Michael Jordan in a way that I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
I was like, man, wow. And his work ethic inspired me.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
He was hard on athletes who listen, if you were going to be on his team, you were going to bring some hustle and fight.
And he was going to play to the last whistle as well.
That's right. That's right. But the best thing of it was, Phil Jackson had 6 championships in L.A., 5 in L.A. with Kobe and Shaq, and 6 in Chicago. So when you get through, one coach has 11 NBA championships. Yes. So it shows you that it's not just how the team is built, it's the culture of that team. Who's leading, how he builds this dream team. And so, man, I really got a joy out of watching it, because every person had their role, their responsibility. And I believe it's biblical. One of the most wonderful stories, man, in the Bible is found in John chapter 5. There's this dude, Rikeam, sitting on a porch. He's a paraplegic. He can't really move around well. And the Bible says there's a crowd of folk that are impotent and lame. And Jesus walks up to this dude, right, and says, do you want to be made whole? And he's been on the porch so long. He's been surrounded by the wrong people so long that he doesn't even believe he can move himself, man. And that's how many of us are. Man, we've been stuck on the porch too long. We've been stuck with porch people who see life from the porch. Their perspectives are porch perspectives. Just if you ask them what they see, they can't see any further than what's on the porch. But what Jesus did for that dude is what he does for all of us. He makes us switch company, Rikeam. He says, rise, take up your bed and walk. And when the dude takes off, his perspective shifts. In fact, we never have any biblical record of him ever returning. And it's because, man, once your perspective changes, the people near you shift. And that's when your dream team comes into play. Because when you start realizing, if I'm going to get to where God wants me, I can't get there alone. Exactly. There are no biblical Rambos, man. You have to partner with people to get things done. And who you partner with will always define how far you go.
And also, you want to surround yourself with people who are hungry and don't be content, and they're always striving for more. And I noticed that about you. We have this thing to where we always want to be excellent, but every time we excellent, we want to be excellenter.
Listen, Doc. Well, it's amazing, man. So every day I'm with my executive director, and one of the things we talked about was, when do we win? You know, like, how do you define that? Is it soul saved? Is it progress made? Is it, just when do we know when we've achieved? And here's what I say to that. And in an eternal sense, we win whenever God is pleased with us. In a very practical sense, we gain every time we get better. So for us, excellence is the mantra and better is the key. I believe if God gave us his best in Jesus, we owe God our best every day. So, man, we're getting better and better at everything we're trying to do.
And I feel like you instilled that in us. And when we first came along, we had the skill to do video and things like that, media. But I feel like also you need to have somebody on your team that has experience in that field. And you have a lot of experience, and you were able to put that on us and push us to where we need to be. So that's an important thing, to have a person with experience on your team.
Competency is one of the most essential elements of any team makeup you're going to find. Enthusiasm is one thing, outcomes are another. You can have lots of activity and have no accomplishment. Competency. You will always know when you're around people who are competent, like you with technology. Man, all these wires up here, man, this is a mess to me. But you understand the whole thing. Competency is so key, man. In fact, there are so many things that make great teams great. And to me, competency and loyalty are two of the most important elements of great teams, man, really. And so when you have a competent doctor, a competent teacher, a competent preacher, just competence, what do you know? And we think about it in the medical field all the time. Man, if you go to the hospital and need surgery on your back, you're not going to let me cut you. Let me pray. But you don't want me cutting because I'm not competent. But you need a neurosurgeon who can do that. So when you get through, man, it matters to be competent. So hold on. If you're watching and you don't know, let me go on and tell you this. It's all about not just who you know, it's what you know too. Because your competencies will always make room for you. Older folks said it like this: your gift will make room for you, man.
And let's also, while we're on this topic, let's talk about how important it is, because we haven't always had everything perfect, and we still don't have everything perfect. We have to stay optimistic while we're on the journey, because you have times where you just feel like, man, nothing's going right, feel like giving up. What do you normally do when you start to feel like that? Because I know we all do.
Okay, so wait, let me just say, I'm laughing because every week I have a down moment. Do you understand? So, normally my down moment happens right after I get through preaching. I say, oh, I wish I could have that sermon back. Or, oh my God, I wish I had done better, and it can be a great Sunday or whatever the case is. But let me just say this. Moments where there's downturn makes great space for seasons where there's gain and glory. So hold on, you learn from those low moments. I've learned to listen. I've learned to stop and just take a day to breathe or take a moment. I've learned also to work my way through those. Man, the best relief for me when I'm feeling down and out is to go try harder. To go and say, okay, enough of that, what's next? Because if you don't do that, you will soak in what you seemingly are not doing well. And wait, so here's the key, man. People often ask me, Rikeam, Pastor R.Adolph, what do you attribute your success to? First thing I tell them, I'm not a success story, not yet. I'll find it out when I meet the Lord and hear him say, you've done well. Until that day, I'm trying to be faithful. But I would tell people who are listening to this podcast today, if you learn how to successfully fail forward, man, that's the best thing ever. Man, you'll discover my failures are not fatal. They're not final. You'll start learning, wait a minute, I didn't do that right this time, but look what I discovered. I discovered this and this. So I have learned so much, man, through not getting things right. If you ask me, I'm not the most competent pastor. I'm not the best preacher, but I work my contemporaries. While they're sleeping, golfing, doing stuff, I'm working.
And that's one thing that you're able to guarantee, because you have that in you. And also you have to be self-motivated. You want people on your team that are self-motivated, meaning like if we're in a room, it's one thing to be all in a group and we're all working hard, but what are you doing when you're at home? Like basically, we would rather have 100 people that are not that good, but they have that drive, than to have 10 that you have to push every single day and they don't want to get up or they don't want to do something. So that's where I am with it as far as when it comes to being self-motivated. So you want to have people on your team that are able to push themselves and you don't have to do all the work and push them.
You know, there are several terms that flow with motivated that allows us to stay in the same vein of great teamwork. Innovative, man. You need people on a team that can put together things logistically and programmatically, who can take pieces and pull it together.
Yeah, we have that, and luckily we have Brooklyn, and she know how to plan stuff and write stuff down, because a lot of times we know what we want to do, but we just don't see it on paper.
She's innovative.
Yeah, she's able to plan things out. So, okay, boom, that's what we got to do. Then we all get in the room. Now we need an idea. Boom. So somebody will come up with an idea.
And and that's creative. So
exactly.
so just like a moment ago when you were saying, hey, you know what? You need to be self-motivated. That's important. But self-motivation alone is good, but it doesn't produce everything. So you got to have some people who are innovative. Mm-hmm. Innovative people can take the pieces of a whole menu and make a whole nother dish. They come in and put it together. But then every now and then, innovative is not enough. You need people who are creative. Mm-hmm. There's people who can say, here's the idea.
Because that's me. Sometimes I can come up with an idea, but I just don't know how to do it.
Man, you are hold on. Hey, guys. He is phenomenal with ideas. I would tell you, man, that Rikeam Kinsbrew, who is the author and the constructor of this program, is one of the most creative young African-American men I have ever worked with. If you're looking to create it, he can create that. In fact, that's why we're on this podcast. I've been here 24 years. Ain't nobody else podded me but him. You know, just when you get through, man, it's creativity. Well, so, you know, self-motivated.
Well, I'm glad I could be the first person to pod you. And and also back to our team, I'm glad that we do have the people on the team to be able to do that. We have photographers, yes. People that do video, people that create logistics. We have you with the extreme ideas, and you can talk real good. So it's good, because if we have something that we want to do and we don't know the words, we can just like, hey, Pastor, write this, and you'll have it done in 30 minutes the next day, whatever. So that's a good thing. So I feel like that we've created, in a sense, a dream team. That's why I came up with this topic today, because I watch it every day, to where even when at times that we feel like we doing bad, we always can come back to the drawing board and come back 10 times harder, and we all pushing things, pushing the best out of each other. So,
you know, I've been blessed for many years to have wonderful Christian people partner with me in kingdom building. But I would dare argue that in this season of my life and ministry, this is probably the best human resources I've ever had. That does not slight, denounce, or diminish any of the efforts I've ever had. Man, we've had some marvelous people come through this church. Oh my God, tremendously gifted, talented, skilled, anointed. But the group I have right now, is probably the best human resources we've ever had. Ever. And I mean that sincerely. Gifted, better attitude, outlooks, perspectives, sincerity, commitment, longevity, loyalty. Just, it's a different group. It's a different cut. And I'm happy about that.
And I'm glad you brought up loyalty. Talk about loyalty, because I know that's a big thing with you as well. Let's talk about that for a second, as far as loyalty. Even when you feel like that you're not being, I don't know, compensated or whatever enough, sticking to your roots and sticking to the team. How important is that? Not just jumping ship because something don't go your way. Not even just finances, but a disagreement between teammates. Let's talk about that for a second.
Loyalty to me means almost everything, because leadership and teamwork are entrustments. Mm-hmm. You have to work with people you can trust. And if you are with people who may not have your best interest in mind, they could harm you, and they could harm the greater good of the whole. So loyalty, man, matters to me. Somebody who will say, if we have to ride the bus, I'll catch it with you. But when we're taking the private jet, I'm cool too. Don't forget me. I want that person. Period. I would rather have a team of 8 loyal people who were willing to work, learn, grow, and develop, than to have a team of 50 people, and you got to wonder where their hearts really are. So yes, loyalty matters to me. You know, when I was watching the Lance Dance with Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, man, when Scottie Pippen wouldn't go back in during the playoffs, I told my best friend I would have cut him that day. Why? Because at that moment we needed him most, and he didn't show up. So just for me and my leadership mindset, loyalty really matters.
And last thing on this topic, let's talk about playing your role. Because that's very important, because you don't want to be bouncing all over the place, not finishing your task, moving around. Do what you're good at, do your part, and help out if you can after you've done what you can do. So basically, a lot of people get into a phase to where they just want to do everything and be a part of everything, but just do your part. Sometimes that's all it takes.
You know, man, when my son Jonathan played T-ball, I would go see every game. And it was so funny, Rikeam, because I would go, and that was a little boy who played for the Rangers. He was in left field, but he played every position. If the ball was in the center field, he ran the center field. Shortstop, home, he just every base. Great enthusiasm, but always out of his lane. He did his team more harm than he did do good.
Exactly.
So for us, it's about staying in your lane, man. And making sure that we empower others, but making sure that we guide, guard, and govern the lane that we're in. Because without that, man, you have train wrecks, car wrecks, messed up attitudes, bad dispositions. And so, if you listen to this podcast, it's important to have lane control. Man. Because when you're out of lane control, bad accidents happen.
You have to stay in your lane, because you don't want to cause a wreck within your team, especially.
Yes,
sir. Because feuds between the team, that's what causes most of the problems, and you just don't want to have that. Okay, guys, if you have anything that you want to add about this topic, or if you like this, go ahead. If you're watching, comment down below. If you're listening on any podcast platform, go ahead and comment that down as well. We're going to move on to the quote of the day, and Pastor has it.
Man, let me just tell you this one more time. Thank you for having me on this podcast. It's a joy to be present and a greater joy to watch you do it. So I'm really proud, all of that. I have been blessed to be around and grow from African-American scholars who love Jesus Christ. And one of those men who has greatly impacted my life is a gentleman whose name is Dr. Edward P. Wimberly. He is the department chair of pastoral psychology at the Interdenominational Theological Center in Atlanta. And one of his greatest quotes, man, that he quoted often, lies in my heart. It will never, ever leave. He always said, you will always be defined by the people in your concentric circle of contact.
It's crazy how you always can say a quote that can fit to what we're talking about. Amen. Say that one again.
That you are all, this is Dr. Edward P. Wimberly. Mm-hmm. He would say, you are always defined by the people who are in your concentric circle of contact. Whoever's around you, you don't have to say who you are. They're going to tell us.
So I hope everybody out there can get something out of this podcast, this episode. I want to thank you guys for watching. And remember, you hear it heard first. Thank you for listening.
I cannot lose. I'm a winner. Got money on me now, make them talk to me different. Was blind before with nines, like they all got no vision. And wanna be my friend now, but I gotta keep my distance. I cannot lose ever. I feel like the GOAT now, but I ain't on no form.